Hi guys, and welcome to my newest video, Which One Should You Choose, where I compare the versions or iterations of browsers and choose which one is the best. This week it's Mozilla Firefox, where I'll be comparing the Firefox 14, which is the current version of Firefox, versus the beta version, which is Firefox 15, versus the alpha version or aurora version, which is Firefox 16, versus the nightly version, which is Firefox 17. Bit of info: all tests are repeated 3 times for accuracy and the average taken. Remember, results may improve as the browser version becomes final. No add-ons, extensions or options were enabled, and I've changed the format of the graphs to be easier to read. Now on to the first test, which is the HTML5 test. HTML5 is basically the new web standard. It basically is in front now of Flash. A high score here is better, and it means that your browser is more compatible with newer, more technologically advanced websites. So you can see there's a good progression between Firefox 14 and Firefox 17, with the difference between the two being almost 50 points. This is good. It shows that each iteration actually gets better in terms of compatibility. That's always a good sign. I would say that Firefox 17 wins it by almost 20 points, well, by 20 points compared to its predecessor Firefox 16. Next test is the V8 benchmark test. This tests JavaScript, which is basically the workhorse of the any websites basically. It's not smooth here. Firefox 15 doesn't actually improve on Firefox 14's score. Higher the better again, but for some reason Firefox 16 actually gets less than Firefox 15. I wouldn't really be worried at this point because Firefox 16 has still got at least 8 to 10 weeks before it's released, so I suspect it's just unoptimized code at the moment. Firefox 17, however, blows away the rest of the field, getting almost 1,000 points more than its nearest competitor, which is good again. The next test is not really that relevant, but I thought I'd include it anyway. It's the size of install. Basically, how much memory you need, how many megabytes of memory in your hard drive you need to install each of these browsers. Even between the smallest and the largest, there's only 4 megabyte difference, so it's not really that big, but it just shows you that maybe with all the new features, Firefox 17 does need a bit more memory. The next test is memory used with 5 tabs open. I did 5 same tabs: BBC, YouTube, Amazon, eBay and Google. A low score here is better. You can see Firefox 15 is much better at memory management than Firefox 14, but Firefox 16 and 17 again let the side down a bit, but again I think this is just due to unoptimized code. Especially Firefox 17, it's not going to be released for at least 3 or 4 months, so I suspect in a couple of months the engineers at Mozilla will make this test a bit more accurate, and it will get lower score than Firefox 15, which is good. The next test is startup time in seconds. You can see Firefox 15 is noticeably quicker, at least on the graph, perhaps not in real-time speed, than Firefox 14, which is good, because one of the features that people wanted was faster startup time for Windows, and you see that Firefox 15 has delivered it. Firefox 16 equals Firefox 15, but again, Firefox 17 is a bit off the pace, but as I keep on saying, I suspect it's unoptimized code, not just Firefox 17 being rubbish in some regard. Next test is page load times. The lower score the better. You can see that Firefox 17, as I've explained before, is just slow because of unoptimized code, I suspect. But Firefox 15, which is the most relevant because it's going to be the next release, is admittedly not by much, but it is actually faster than Firefox 14. And Firefox 16 got a bit of time left to for people to actually revise. It's still very fast. It's actually faster than the current version, which is Firefox 14. So in conclusion, the current stable version of Firefox, version 14, is the most stable, with the least amount of crashing, and it's most compatible with add-ons and extensions. The nightly build Firefox 17 is prone to crashing due to being pre-alpha. However, it scores the highest HTML5 score, the highest JavaScript score, and has a slightly cleaner interface in my opinion. Firefox 16, the alpha build, is still rough around the edges, with too much memory consumption and has poor JavaScript abilities at this stage. I would avoid it. Finally, Firefox 15 is the beta version of Firefox. It is the fastest startup. It's a better HTML5 and JavaScript score than its predecessor, uses less RAM and is stable. So I would really recommend, in my opinion, Firefox 15. This is the beta version. It should be coming out as a stable version in perhaps 2 to 3 weeks, maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more depending on how they feel. But I really feel it's the best one. It's really stable. It does work. And it's basically the next stable version of Firefox anyway, so you might as well just download the beta now and get the better responsiveness, higher HTML5 score of Firefox 15, a bit ahead of schedule. So thanks for watching. Next week it will be which one would you choose for Google Chrome